Shemai Pretty and welcome back to my channel. My name's Caitlin Anwin for anyone who's new here, and let's get back into a building in Planet Zoo. And today I'm going to be doing a Western Lowland Gorilla Habitat. And this one's going to be a little bit of fun. I usually like doing a little bit more different, wacky style habitats here and there. I've been doing lots of natural ones for this zoo. And to celebrate the new sport for the Tokyo Olympics, well, they're saying 2020, but I guess they're still going to stick to 2020, even though it was a disaster of a year. But we have skateboarding now. The new sport for Tokyo's Olympics is skateboarding. So I wanted to make a skate park. I thought maybe that could be doable. And I've really been enjoying watching the Olympic skateboarding. So I've been looking at the Olympic skate park quite a lot, and I really love the purple accent colours. Well, there's a lot of sports that have it, but I really like it on this skate park, so I wanted to give it a go. It's not going to be exactly like the Olympic skate park, but it's going to be a skate park. And soon as I've never stepped foot on a skateboard before, I think it was a bit of a challenge for me. Have you been watching the Olympics? I've been watching every night. We record it because obviously it's quite a time difference between the UK and Tokyo. So we record most of the competitions that we like to watch as well. But I've been really getting into it. I've been enjoying it quite a lot. I think I'm still quite a few days behind the live competitions, but I've been enjoying it nevertheless. It doesn't really bother me that I'm not watching it live. I guess I kind of cheated a little bit here with the stairs, because I don't know about all skate parks, but the Olympic one has a set of stairs with railings to do tricks down. I don't know. I don't really know much about skateboarding. If you do, you'll have to let me know. I love the names of the tricks and stuff. That was so much fun listening to. But yeah, I was just basing it off what I saw on the competition. I'm the least coordinated person ever. I could not do skateboarding. I would seriously injure myself. But yeah, I wanted to kind of cheat a little bit, I guess, with the staircase and just use stairs from the pathways in the game, and that allowed me to make sure that they were all the same height and the steps were easily climbable for the keepers and for the gorillas. And I tried to have a look at a few different curved pieces that I could build on top of and use my own sorts of materials, but kind of copy the curve itself. And this copper metal piece was a lovely curve, but as you can see, it's slightly too long, and there was no way I was making something that large. I wanted it to fit in between the stairs, because that's kind of how some of the ramps look like on the skate park itself. I wanted to play around with it a little bit. I wanted it to feel a little bit more cohesive, so I used a Planet Zoo plank of wood. I think it was that one. It's not the one from the Africa pack. I didn't use it. I've used that same plank of wood for nearly every habitat now. But yeah, I like this shade of wood because it was kind of a light tone that matched with the flooring a little bit. But I have found that the organization little tab where you go through and select certain things, so you can select flexi color, you can select on the grid or off the grid pieces, but if you put too many selections into that, it doesn't technically mean that it's only going to show those things that are all tagged with that. It'll show things that are tagged with one or the other, which makes it a little bit trickier. So I can find things that are off the grid, but they might not be flexi color. I don't know whether that's a glitch or it's just the way that Planet Zoo has decided that was how they were coding the build catalog. I don't know. I wasn't particularly happy with that because I was like, no, I want something off the grid and flexi color. Why can't you just show me everything that's off the grid in flexi color? But no. I think I'm just being picky there, and I'm fed up of scrolling through things. And I don't know if you're aware of this because I don't really use railings all that much in builds. But different pathways will give you different railings for the staircases and stuff. So if you go through all of the different types of pathways you have, it's like a little Easter egg in where you can just find these different fences that you can't build in game. And I really liked this one. It had like a really pretty pattern to it, and it also didn't have any like odd bits bumping out of the top and bottom of the railing itself. And obviously that wouldn't be very good for an actual skateboarder because they'd hit into that. And don't worry, the ramp that I just built is going to be used for something else, but I didn't want it by here. So instead I found the Indian style fabric drapes pieces. They had like kind of folds in them at the top and the bottom that to me it looks like scuffs from maybe like the skateboard wheels. I also thought I would make the skate park look a little bit more like the Tokyo Olympic skate park with the purple accent colour underneath the ramps and stuff. You know me, I don't really need an excuse to add purple and cute colours into builds. I was actually really excited about that colour, and I really like the popper colour, and against the grey of the like ramp and the stairways as well, it looks really nice. And I did say I was still going to use that ramp that I had built with the wooden pieces, but I wanted that ramp to be a little longer than the one that was in between the stairways. And I also thought I'd try and tie in a little bit more with the rest of the habitat too. I didn't want it to just be in one little chunk. I wanted it to feel like you could actually skate around the whole thing. And I wanted a little bit more height into the skate park as well, to have like a few different multi-levels in this, to mix it up a little bit too. So at the moment we've kind of got like 4 different levels of the skate park. I might add one more in. And my plan for this little bit as well was to have like a viewing platform for the guests as well, so they can have like a raised viewing area on top of the whole skate park. If you do actually want to raise pathways like I have done here, go into the pathway placement, and if you click shift and drag your mouse like forward, it will actually drag the pathway up. But if you want to line it up to something else like the building that I have, you can also align pathway to building grids as well as like pathway grids by clicking the little align to grid in the bottom right corner. And even though I had used the railings from the pathways, I did want to make like a fence, like railing for this middle part here that connects to the railing from the stairs. And I did use the African pack for these little wood pieces because they were the thinnest ones I actually managed to find. The base game round pieces were a little thicker than this, and I wanted them to be quite thin to match in with the railing. I kind of wish we had the railings from the paths as fences too, so we could match it all up. But I didn't do railings around the whole thing. I just wanted it to be on certain parts to encourage the gorillas themselves to climb around this as well. Yeah, I just used a roof piece for the angle of the like straight ramp. Just give it a little bit of a variation. But then I couldn't use the same railings as the pathways, so it got a little tricky. Do have this plain metal fence, but I just found it really difficult to get the angles right for everything and to match it all up nicely. This one works okay. It's not like quite smooth enough to be like a railing for a skate park, I guess, but it works fine for this little area here. What I think is really cool about the Olympic skateboarding as well is that the women's skateboarding and the men's skateboarding are both scored exactly the same. I really enjoyed watching the women's skateboarding. I've only really watched that one so far. The women's skateboarders were super young. I think the top 3 were 2 13-year-olds and a 14-year-old, so that is like pretty much half my age. Girl who got gold is pretty much half my age and she has a gold medal. And I think that's just amazing how talented these people are, especially for it being the debut of skateboarding in the Olympics as well. I didn't really see many British skateboarders, or I didn't really see British skateboarders in the women's skateboarding. I might have missed that, but I think now that it's in the Olympics, I'm hoping that like the next generation will be inspired by these people to try out this sport, because it's amazing. Like, I never did it, but I was not an athletic person ever. I still aren't. And now I'm happy with the general layout of the skate park. It's kind of about time for me to actually make this into a habitat, not just a skate park. So I needed to work in some hard shelter for the gorillas. So I thought it would be perfect to give them a little bit of an opening into the skate park itself, so they could maybe sleep underneath the ramps. So that's why I've got, on the highest level, I've got a little door there. I was trying to figure out where else they could go underneath the skate park to have some shelter, and I thought the main floor part in the center could also be turned into a hard shelter underneath. It kind of just hides the fact that it is a habitat. Sometimes it's fun to do that and make it look like maybe the gorillas have taken over this instead of it being a habitat for them. They've just been like, nah, this is mine now. But the terrain was kind of popping a little bit through the flooring, and I wasn't really happy with that. I couldn't flatten it out because of the barriers. So I thought I'd make like a little flower planter. I was having a look at some skate parks in Africa as well, because obviously this is in the African biome. I wanted to make sure that it kind of fit in with that too. They had like planters and little trees along like the railings. They had trees in between the railings of like stairways and stuff, and I couldn't really figure that out, but I thought it would be nice to put a little planter on this end part here to hide the terrain poking through the floor. And I just wanted to add a few different little plants in with this so it looks like a man-made planter, I guess. So I wanted everything to be absolutely perfect. If you see those red and blue arrows, if you hold control, it will allow you to place something in straight lines, so across and up and down as well. So that's what I was using to keep it in a straight line without using the X tool. It's a little bit quicker to hold control sometimes if you want to place things in quickly. And of course, I can't do an Olympic skate park without the Olympic rings. So I've used the African beads, and as soon as I saw these, I thought they would be perfect for the Olympic rings. I did try to get the right colours in the right order and have like the right shades of the Olympic rings as well. And I also downloaded a skate park off the Steam Workshop. I'm going to put the name of the creator down there because I cannot pronounce it, I'm sorry. So I had a look at how they had created their own skate park, and I thought it looked really cool, but I didn't know how to like fit everything into this area. But I do end up using one of those pieces for this skate park. I just replaced the materials with something that blended in with the rest of my skate park. I will put that skate park that I downloaded off Steam Workshop in the description as well. But yeah, I really like the shape of this ramp, and yeah, I just replaced the metal pieces with the plaster pieces so they would fit in nicer with the colour scheme of the whole skate park. Now on to the Pretties. My favourite part, really. You have to let me know what you think. Does it look like a real skate park? The gorillas love it, at least, and they look really cool. Their dark fur really stands out against the beige floor of the whole thing. I love it. It is fully usable. They can get around everywhere, and the wooden ramps are used as a climbing requirement. Let me know whether you've been watching the Olympics too, and what's your favourite sport to watch. I usually love watching the gymnastics, but the skateboarding has definitely been a top contender for the Tokyo Olympics this year. I've really enjoyed watching that. As always, please suggest me some other animals to build habitats for this zoo. We have the fennec fox and the sacred scarab beetle left for the Africa pack, but any animal that from the African continent would be perfect in this zoo. So yeah, if you could let me know, that would be amazing. And I'm gonna leave it off there. If you enjoyed the video, smash that like button, and if you haven't already and you would like to, it would mean a lot to me if you could subscribe and hit the bell to be notified whenever I upload a new video. I upload on Wednesdays and Saturdays around 7 PM my time, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you next time. Goodbye!